Hi, this is Ron from Dirtbike Magazine, and we just got our first look at the 2023 Yamaha YZ450F. We've been really looking forward to seeing this bike, and we understand that Eli Tomac would not sign his contract for 2023 until he actually rode the bike. That's happened, and he signed, so we're assuming that everything's good on that front. Some of the wild things about this new bike is Yamaha has kind of abandoned some of the designs that it's had for quite some time. Most notably the wet sump. Now the gearbox is lifted up a little bit higher, and there isn't an external oil tank the way we used to see on the old YZ426. There's an oil tank actually within the motor. This allows the motor to spin a little bit more freely, and it gave them a lot more liberty to move the shafts around and put the various components of the motor where they wanted. Weight loss was a really big motivation between a lot of the changes because obviously Yamaha liked its old direction. They liked the reverse head. They liked that whole layout. They didn't want to change everything so dramatically that it changed the character of the bike. We were kind of on board with all that because we like the bike too, but we know that there's a lot of criticism about weight, about bulky feel and bulky handling. All that stuff Yamaha tried to address without really messing up the components that made the bike what it was, that made it a favorite in our shootouts, made it a favorite on the track, and made it so successful in the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series, as well as the Monster Energy Supercross Series. Other changes that are significant on the bike, now it has traction control for the first time. This is something we haven't seen on a Yamaha. And another thing that's pretty significant, it now has a cup disc spring for the clutch, which is similar to the design that KTM and Husqvarna started using several years ago, and Kawasaki adapted. The clutch itself is still cable actuated, and many people really like the feel of a cable as opposed to hydraulics. They say it gives them more of a direct feel to the track. However, we have heard that this design allows the engine to be easily updated to hydraulic actuation. We don't know if that's actually in the cards down the road, but it's a possibility at least. Another thing that Yamaha really devoted a lot of attention to was making the Yamaha Power Tuner app a little more friendly. Yamaha is still the only company that really makes an effective way for you to tune the motor at the track. Now, it takes a little bit less expertise to do that. We got a chance to call Steve Butler. He was at the track testing. We did a quick phone conversation asking us to run down the reasoning behind some of the changes. He had some pretty interesting things to say.
The main focus of this model was to improve the weak points of the current model. So obviously to make it more narrow, the airbox has been lowered like 15 millimeters. So that's a huge change to the chassis layout like that. The main frame tube is 15 millimeters lower at the steering head. The airbox is lower. The radiator shrouds are much more narrow. The seat to foot peg distance is a big change. With Chisholm the first day he rode, and I could truly see he was pretty stoked on it. It's a tri-shaft engine, so the clutch shaft is above the crankshaft and the front sprocket shaft. The previous engine, they were all in line. The sprocket shaft, the crankshaft, and the clutch shaft were all on the same plane. But the clutch assembly is very compact, so that was enabled the engine to be more narrow. Because of the shaft being higher, that allows the engine to be shorter, and then the new clutch allows it to be more narrow.
In the end, the weight reduction is going to be the thing that gets the most attention on this bike. Yamaha says 5 pounds less. We'll know for ourselves very shortly whether that's accurate or not. We don't have any reason to doubt it. We're looking forward to getting on this bike and riding it on the track. Check back with us as we learn about the 2023 YZ450. We'll be getting a chance to ride on a few months, and come back to dirtbikemagazine.com for all the latest information, and check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for tuning in.